morning, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the third and final race in the round of 16 for the 2021 Midwest Sim Racing Association Premier Series. Tonight, we bring you coverage of the Fantastic Sam's 125 live from iRacing's virtual Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Taylor Burris with our producer, Ryan Bauer, using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Taylor, it is elimination time in the last great Coliseum, and so many storylines coming into tonight. 4 drivers are locked in, 2 on wins, 2 on points. Everybody else back from there, still hungry for that spot in the round of 12 come next week.
And what a track to do it at. Here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the intensity level is going to be skyrocketing. The drama, the anger, the excitement. Drivers are going to be at each other's throat from green flag to checkered flag. It's going to be an exciting race. I cannot wait to see who moves on to the round of 12.
And just talking about this track, I mean, not many tracks that you can say is truly historic and unique. Just about a half-mile long, and you can use the outside line, you can use the inside line. They both work, they're both fast. But the main game here at Bristol, avoiding the lapped traffic that we know we are going to see at some point in this race.
We certainly will, and as we take a look at the Google Earth here with Bristol Motor Speedway, it's going to be exciting to see this half-mile last great Coliseum be put to use here tonight.
A literal bull ring. Sands surround the entire course here of Bristol Motor Speedway. Just being over a half-mile in length splits the pit roads into 2 separate ones going down the front straightaway and the back straightaway. Makes this track just ever so unique, and getting a great look there at Colossus, the massive 4-sided video board that sits in the middle of this racetrack. And the surface is concrete as well, going to provide a little bit more struggle when it comes to tire wear as well. Something else that's going to be a big talking point tonight.
It certainly is. I mean, drivers are going to try to utilize both the inside and outside lanes like you touched on, but that outside lane is going to be the preferred lane just because how much speed and momentum you can take, but also you can really put a hurting on your tires depending on how long you're tucked up behind somebody and racing for position for them. As you take a look at the race analysis today, stages are pretty short, 65 laps for 1 and 2, and then an 120 dash to the finish for the final stage. Of course, these drivers will have 5 sets of tires in their pit, so it's going to be strategy involved of when to come down pit road. And of course, we still have 3 attempts of a green-white checkered, and I have to say we're probably going to see those here tonight.
Not a ton of tires sitting in the pit lane, and this is the first time these drivers have been to the asphalt Bristol this season. Earlier in the year, we went to Bristol Dirt, and that led us through the regular season and into the playoffs. Boyd Hogan in on a win earlier in the round. Same thing with Joseph McWhorter. Ralph Hutchison and Vincent Arthur both in on points. Back from there, Chris Severa still could lose out on that spot, but very difficult being 44 good to the cut line. John Theodore, Clayton Hoffman, Jacob Shorba, Ryan Strunk, Stephen Davis, Brandon Davis, and John Mullins trying to hold on above their cut line, but Zach York, Logan Helton, and Ben Myatt are all trying to get back above that cut line. York and Helton have an opportunity to get in on points. Ben Myatt is in a must-win situation coming into tonight.
He certainly is, and as we take a look, anything is possible happening here tonight. For, of course, Ben Myatt, like you pointed out, he needs to take home the checker flag. For drivers like Zach York or Logan Helton, a good placement in the stages could be a benefactor, as well as finishing ahead of some of those drivers inside the round of 12.
It's time to take a look at the starting grid, and we would like to thank Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado for sponsoring tonight's race. FantasticSams.com, so you can learn all about them. Logan Elton, the driver on the outside looking in when it comes to the round of 12, will start on the pole with Chris Severa to his outside for Gas and Go Racing. Ralph Hutchison, Boyd Hogan sharing that second row with Stephen Davis and Vincent Arthur rounding out the top 3 rows.
As we move on down to row number 4, it's going to be David Santini, followed by Derek Whiteford, who are going to be in row 4. And rounding out your top 10, it's going to be Joseph McWhorter and Brandon Davis rounding out that top 10. As we go on to 11th position, there you see John Mullins from Bullring Racing. He is on the cut line. He needs to try to see if he can get a little bit of points needed. And as we move to 12th, it's Jacob Shorba.
And back from there, all the way into P13, Kenny Powell next to John Theodore. Theodore needs a good run here to stay above that cut line. John Binder, Greg Wachinski, Ben Myatt, and Zach York going to round out the top 18. As we go back from there, Taylor, final page.
It certainly is. We have, of course, Clayton Hoffman and Braxton DeWeese, who rounds out your top 20. TJ Crampton, 21st. Evan Longacres is going to be 21st or 22nd. And then Ryan Strunk riding shotgun in 23rd position.
Everybody back, of course, on that final page did not put in a time for qualifying. 80 degrees on the track temp as the sun continues to set here in a packed house at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. That track temperature won't budge too much. The air temperature might drop with that track temperature as we go through the evening. But storylines coming into tonight. I think the main one when we were getting ready to go live here on Podium Esports, Taylor, was the fact that Logan Helton, right before qualifying was set to start, dropped from the race server due to packet loss. He got back in and set the fastest time on the track to take the pole. That 63 car is fast, looking to win on both the pavement Bristol and the dirt Bristol this season.
It's going to be a great way to wrap it up, as well as to try to get him into the round of 12 here tonight, but he's got to make sure he holds on. He has a lot of fast competitors and hungry competitors here who want to try and move on to the round of 12. Another big shakeup also for one of our drivers on the outside looking in the playoff, Ben Myatt. He received an EOL penalty, so he will be starting at the tail end of the longest line. A big situation for him. He's going to have a lot of work to do.
Kenny Powell also joining him in those end-of-line penalties, and Ben Myatt, of course, in a must-win situation when it comes to Bristol. 36 points behind the cut line. He's going to need a lightning-quick race car here tonight. 2 pace laps around the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, with this being a half-mile racetrack, and they lead behind the iRacing pace car. Rows of 2 all the way back to P23, getting ready to go racing. The last time we were here in the MSRA Premier Series at Bristol, it was covered in dirt, and we were live here on Podium Esports. A much different race than that dirt one was. We're going racing on the famous concrete pavement Bristol. A lot of unknowns when it comes to how this racetrack is going to run for these guys in the NASCAR Cup Series race cars, and unknowns when it comes to the playoffs. Who is going to make their way into the round of 12, and who is going to be wondering what if until Daytona in February. The iRacing pace car set to pull into the safety of pit lane. The 63 of Logan Helton in control of the field. It's time to go racing from the last great Coliseum. The green flag is out. We're racing in Bristol. Working out 4, already a side-by-side battle for the lead. What a start from the 62, of Chris Severa. He is going to take the lead away from the 63 of Logan Helton already as they go down the back.
As they head down into turn 3 and 4, that high line was starting to come into play. That's why Chris was able to get around Helton for the race lead. And as they come across the start-finish line now, everyone's diving to the bottom except the 24 of Vincent Arthur. There you see Hutchinson get a little bit loose. That's going to open the door up for Boyd Hogan in the 96 as they go through 3 and 4 once again.
Take a look at Brandon Davis. He was all over the place, and they're on board now. Boyd Hogan trying to work his way around Ralph Hutchison. Hutchison on the outside, and the number 51, Fantastic Sam's Ford Mustang. They almost make contact as they go down the back. The 44 stuck in the middle of the 2 Davises. That's Derek Whitford. You're on board now with Brandon Davis in the 91, as now Logan Helton continues to fall like a rock. He goes back to P3, put Vincent Arthur up to P2 now in the 24. Now here comes Ralph Hutchison in the 51. How many spots is Helton going to lose off the start of this race?
It's going to be a tough one indeed. And right now, he's holding on to that third spot. Gets a big-time loose coming off corner exit. That's going to open the door for Ralph Hutchinson to dive into the inside. The 79 of David Santini is also going to get into this battle for the 3rd position as you're on board now with the rest of the field as they work through turns 1 and 2. But this is a big issue right here for Logan Helton, who needs to have a good points night in order to move on to the next round.
Boyd Hogan, who we're just on board with, is locked in, but still looking for a good finish here at Bristol. Currently down 3 spots where he started in P7, and everybody trying to get around Logan Helton now as it's the battle for 4th. Going to the outside goes David Santini to Ralph Hutchison. David Santini looking for some more success when it comes to this series. One of the stars of the MSRA National Series that utilizes the Class B cars, the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, here on the iRacing service. Trying to make it happen in the Premier Series. He's got a pretty fast number 79 right now as he powers around the 51 of Ralph Hutchison. Put him up to P4. Battle for the lead starting to shape up out in front as we go on board with Joseph McWhorter, winner from last week at Richmond, trying to get around Ralph Hutchison now in the 51.
And Joseph's having a good run, utilizing that outside lane, but as we go take a look at the race lead right now, Chris Severa is trying to hold off the 24 of Vincent Arthur, the Great Lakes Motorsports driver, as they head down the back straightaway. Arthur was utilizing that outside lane for quite a bit, but then decided to drop in line behind Severa as they are now going to try and pull away from the field, currently sitting at about 1.2 seconds from Logan Helton as they come across the line.
Chris Severa, of course, coming into tonight's race, and issues for Ryan Strunk in the 77. Way off the pace. He's one of those playoff drivers. 14 good to the cut line, but did not need a bad run here. Chris Severa continues to lead this season. Not the best when it comes to the stat book, Taylor. He has 1 win on the season, 6 top 5s, 12 top 10s. Definitely nothing to scoff at. But as they continue to race on, he also has 22 top 10 stage finishes. If anybody knows how to put together a good race, it's Chris Severa in the 62.
Yeah, that is indeed a smart move and a strong performance for Chris Severa. He needs to continue that trend here in order to move on to the round of 12, and he is doing that by holding on to this race lead here over Vincent Arthur. Both of them very competitive lap times, but of course the fastest car out there on the track is Logan Helton in that 63. He's trying to get himself balanced back out to run down your top 2.
Severa and Arthur are going to continue to spar into the corner. Helton trying to catch up, and you can see that lap time comparison last time by a little bit slower than Vincent Arthur, but a little bit faster than Chris Severa, as now they'll go side by side into the first corner. Vincent Arthur trying to use that bottom line to his advantage, but that number 24 Great Lakes Motorsports machine not working too well on the bottom line. The 62 better on the outside. Arthur, though, 6 wins on the season, showed promise at Bristol Dirt earlier this year, Taylor, but has been one of the stars of pavement tracks and had a lot of wins in the middle portion of this calendar, trying to go back to victory lane here and just further etch himself into the next round and take away one of the automatic bids into the next round. If somebody takes this win, that is outside, and contact made for the race lead.
There's the first chrome horn we've seen used tonight against each other, and that put a little bit of damage right there to Severa on the outside wall. You'll see now Vincent Arthur's going to dive it to the inside of him, side by side off turn 2 as they work down the back straightaway. Severa's got a nose out in front of Vincent Arthur as they almost make more contact off of turn 4. This is going to be a brutal battle.
They touch once, touch twice. They'll space out now as they go back into one. This is going to lead Logan Helton to start catching right back up to this lead duo. They're still sparring side by side, but look at the run from the 63. He is catching up very quickly to this lead pack, and now Logan Helton going to try and go for the race lead. It's a 3-car battle at the front as they race down the back straightaway.
Well, we're at the last great Coliseum, and we have these gladiators battling it out. More contact between Arthur and Helton as Arthur tries to cross over to the inside of Severa. That will propel him up to the race lead. Vincent Arthur now leads the point.
Logan Helton going back to the bottom on Severa. Look who else is joining this fight. Boyd Hogan in the 96. It went from 3 cars to 4 cars in just a matter of moments. Severa losing a ton of momentum. He's going to go back to P4. Helton up to P3. Helton up to P2. Hogan at P3. Now Helton trying to race for that lead as Zach York way off the pace, about to be put a lap down. Not with that number 49 needed when it comes to the points. 3 under the cut line, and is going to just be even further under the cut line now as they race through onto lap number 27.
Ooh, great pick for Logan Helton to utilize Zach York as the pick to get around for the race lead. He now goes back up to the point after being passed in the early stages now as he leads on lap 27.
Now, for the moment, Helton does have that spot into the next round because the winner will earn an automatic bid into the next round. So far, Boyd Hogan, Joseph McWhorter, the two winners from this round, so they're locked in. Ralph Hutchison, Vincent Arthur are also both locked in based on points. There's no possible way, even if they didn't start this race, for them to drop under the cut line, so they are locked in. If you take a look at Boyd Hogan going right around the 24 of Vincent Arthur, looking for the lead on Logan Helton. You remember earlier in this season, Helton really broke a huge win streak for the 96 of Boyd Hogan when it came to Bristol Dirt. Last week, Joseph McWhorter broke a huge win streak when it comes to Boyd Hogan here late in the season. So if anybody knows how to beat Boyd Hogan at Bristol, it's Logan Helton. But we going from dirt to pavement, a completely different animal. Logan Helton seems to still have one of the best cars now as we go into the middle portion of the run.
And we'll be honest, Boyd Hogan is one of those future up-and-coming stars in the world of eNASCAR, as well as he has a great group of guys over at the Legacy Esports. One thing also, same thing with Logan Helton, is a future star of the series, as these two titans will battle it out off of turn number 4. Lap traffic is up ahead of them. They're about to catch up to John Binder and Kenny Powell here in the next couple of laps. Let's see how Helton will negotiate that lap traffic when that comes into play.
On board, John Theodore trying to go around Brandon Davis, and he does. The podium 91 going to fall into P12, but Davis is not done, and you can see Mullins now working his way around Zach York. Mullins is the driver that is currently on the cut line when it comes to the points, and going right by Zach York, who is right under the cut line, P13, has got to feel good for that number 64 as he now tries to work his way around Whitford for P8. That's exactly what he is going to do. He takes over 9th as we continue on here. Davis and Crampton going side by side.
Let's take a look at this replay right here between Davis as well as we're on board with the 91 of Brandon Davis, just trying to hold on to the wheel as they still remain side by side. The caution is now out for the first time here tonight.
That is actually the 91 of Brandon Davis that got spun around. There was contact with Jacob Shorba. That did not bring out the yellow flag. But just recently, the 91 went for a bit of a spin coming off of, looks to be turn number 2, contact with the number 15. You can see him behind him, that Reaper Speed Lab machine of Braxton DeWeese. Happened right there. There's the contact, and he got spun right on around and over to the apron. Contact as well with the 20 of Ben Myatt, not with the 20. Needed a lot of damage to the front end of that race car, going to maybe lead to some engine temp issues. You're on board with the 20 now. Here as we take a look at this incident, nowhere for Ben Myatt to go. There's the contact.
And that's probably going to be a day done for Ben Myatt here, as more contact to the rear end of that number 20 MPI Chevrolet. Kenny Powell, the number 7 as well, gets some damage to the front nose. Go on board with him on this.
Ooh, and also close contact with Kenny Powell as the 95 of Evan Longaker on the outside line. And take a look at that. There's contact to the 20 of Ben Myatt. Kenny Powell in the number 7. Bit of tough contact for him. Another one of those drivers from the National Series, making one of his handful of Premier Series starts this season. And as the caution comes out, a little over halfway done in the stage, Taylor, this is going to lead to some interesting race strategy.
Certainly is, because we are, just like you said, halfway to the end of stage number 1. Will drivers come down pit road, or will they utilize this to save to the end of stage number 1? Looking right now through the field, there is a couple of front runners who decided to come down pit road, and those, of course, who were involved in that incident. John Theodore was also on pit road. The 32 has also come down pit road. As for the rest of the field, outside the top 8, have decided to stay out.
Civic Warder is in, Davis is in, Severa also going to elect to come in. Looks like Ben Maya also in, as well as Zach York and Braxton DeWeese from the damage. 40 laps down here from virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. We conclude stage number 1 after this short break. You're tuning into coverage of the MSRA Premier Series, the final race of the round of 16, the Fantastic Sam's 125, live on Podium Esports.
The key is being true to who you are, finding your own style. I go to Fantastic Sam's because I get the look I want.
Fantastic Sam's Cut and Color. Looks good on you.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Back live and back racing here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Good getaway for Logan Helton. The entire top 8 did not pit. You have to go back to Ralph Hutchison in P9 to find the first driver on fresh tires after that incident and that caution. Logan Helton trying to hold off Boyd Hogan. Look at David Santini throwing his hat into the ring, P3 right now.
Great run right there for David Santini, that number 79. He was running up towards the top 5 in the early stages, decided to stay out, but he's going to have immense pressure from the 92 of Stephen Davis as they'll battle for the 3rd position heading down into turns 1 and 2. Side by side, Davis will complete the pass off 2.
Barely being able to clear him. That podium number 92 goes up into P3. Fresh tires, looks like it's working for Ralph Hutchison, but he's reached a bit of a wall. As we look at the battle for the lead, the caution flag is going to fly. Chris Severa around on the front straightaway heading into turn number 1. A very quick number 62 machine today. Got a little bit too confident on fresh tires, it looked like. Went up the middle 3 wide. Slight contact and around 1 to 62.
That's one of the disadvantages that you have to, or one of the things you have to show when it comes to racing here at Bristol. You need to have that aggression that we saw from Severa, but you've also got to be patient. Remember, we're not even we're a little just over halfway through stage number 1. And Chris Severa is in a decent spot in the points where he just runs a good run. He can advance to the round of 12. Doing stuff like that could cost him a chance to be able to move on to the next round, so he has to be a little bit balanced with his aggression in moving through the field.
So back into the yellow flag, second one of the night. Remember, we will have a stage break as well, lap number 65. And we would like to thank FSM Customs for their support of the MSRA Premier Series. FSM Customs offers custom button box builds for sim racers across different disciplines of racing. In addition to boxes, FSM also offers custom decals to customize your rig even more. Flip the switch on your sim rig and check out FSM Customs on Facebook. Doesn't look like any more takers down into the pit lane here at the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, and we're glad you're joining us here for the Fantastic Sam's 125. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth. Taylor Burris alongside with Ryan Bauer down in the virtual production trailer using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And Taylor, as we work through this caution, now this is breaking up the long run that we had going in the first stage, and it looked like Logan Helton has a bit more of a mid-run to long-run car. That short run at the beginning of the race, he really fell off incredibly quickly, went back to P4, fought his way back up to the front, but not the best thing for Logan Helton in the 63 to see is that he cannot have that speed on long runs.
It certainly is concerning, but it has showcased that he is able to work his way up through the field once the car starts to settle down, like we saw for him in the late stages of that green flag run before we had the caution. That's good. However, when we see a short green-white checkered attempt for Logan Helton, if that were to come up, unless he doesn't make the proper adjustments for his race car when that time comes, it could be very detrimental for him and Nexus Esports.
And it could also be very detrimental if he really loses this lead, because we talk about the playoffs all the time when it comes to the top 3 series in NASCAR. Getting in based on points, okay, you just race, try and do the math on where the guy that you're racing in front of is in the positions. Now, it doesn't matter if you win. If you win, you are into the next round no matter what. That seems to be the game plan from Logan Helton, but there's still a long way to go. And Boyd Hogan is breathing down his neck when it comes to these short runs.
He certainly is. Any one small mistake for Logan Helton, Boyd Hogan is there to capitalize, unless Boyd Hogan decides to just go ahead and take the lead when we go back green flag racing. It all depends on what Boyd wants to do, and he has that flexibility to do that with him already guaranteed a spot into the round of 12, and he will probably be able to just determine that and even maybe prevent any other drivers from taking home a win in order to make sure, hey, you got to fight to earn this. I'm not just going to lay over and let anybody else get through it. It's going to be his rules on the matter on how much he wants to fight.
Side by side, ready to go back to racing. Helton chooses the outside line, an interesting one to say the least. He hits the loud pedal. We are back racing. 15 to go in stage number 1. Helton with a good jump, but here comes Boyd Hogan. The 96 made a peak to the bottom. Did not able to get there in turn number 1. Take a look at the dive now in 3 and 4. They're side by side for the race lead for the moment. Hogan going to stay on that bottom line. Helton relying on the outside in the battle for the lead.
Both of them are going to go side by side down the back straightaway heading into turn 3. Hogan on the inside, still using that inside momentum, but Helton has the outside on his side to work on the outside and keep that momentum rolling for him on the high side. Meanwhile, David Santini and Stephen Davis throw in the 51 around Hutchinson with fresh tire. He's going to come barreling in, 3-wide contact. There goes Santini. There goes Davis. Caution is out once again.
Oh my, that head-on hit for Crampton right into the 51 of Hutchinson, and the caution flag out again in stage 1. That was a much larger wreck than we have had so far, and takes out one of the drivers trying to race for a spot in the next round of the playoffs. Here is that replay. The 51 slams into Santini, slams into, I believe that is the 91 of Brandon Davis. No, it was a 92 of Stephen Davis. And Stephen Davis only 11 points above the cut line. If he does not keep running on the racetrack, that could lead to bad news for the 92. But luckily, looks like he's still on the track, not a ton of damage. You're on board with Crampton. Take a look at this head-on incident.
Josh, that was the same song, different verse, and a whole set of new characters involved. Remember, the last caution was where someone decided to take it 3 wide and just couldn't make it stick and work. And unfortunately, that's what happened here with Ralph Hutchins. Remember, it's all about showing the balance of aggression and patience. And unfortunately, that aggression that Ralph Hutchinson showed costed him dearly, as well as the chance of several others. Look at Vincent Arthur. Yes, he's guaranteed a spot to move on to the next round, but now he's going to miss out on possibly some valuable points.
And that 64 of John Mullins also involved in that one. 3 points above the cut line. Take a look at John Theodore's on board here. He split the middle when it came to this wreck going into turn number 3. Check this out. Wrecking in front of him. Cars sliding down the banking at Bristol. Look out. He almost hits Mullins by inches, able to keep it off. John Theodore going to live to race another lap. 29 points above the cut line. He's still pretty safe, Taylor, but definitely did not need an incident there to take him out of this one.
He was using those diamond hands in order to get through that carnage, and he was able to successfully do that. And he will continue on his way. And, of course, he's moved up, I believe, just a little bit up through the field, up to 6th position. So not a bad go for him right now.
So the strategy we are seeing on the racetrack now is relatively interesting. Logan Helton, Boyd Hogan, both are still staying out. Add Stephen Davis to that list as well. He is also not pit this race. Braxton Deweese pitted 18 laps ago under the first caution of the night. He is the first driver on the freshest tires. Now, you go all the way back to P12, the 44 of Derek Whitford. He is just now exiting the pits. So he's on the freshest tires out of anybody in this field. But wondering how those older tires are going to do on 3 of the drivers in the top 4. Tire wear doesn't seem to be a huge thing yet in this race, Taylor, but I can't think 58 lap old tires are really going to be much of an advantage no matter how fast you are over 18 lap old tires.
Well, it all depends on how much you have taken care of your tires as well. Remember, we saw drivers such as Logan Helton and Boyd Hogan pull away from the field after they decided to stay out, and they're still going to continue to stay out. This will be a different test, though, as we'll see what Braxton is able to do against the field, as we're about to see him take the green flag momentarily.
See what happens as Braxton Deweese starts inside of row 2. Helton starting on the outside of row 1. He is the control car, but look at Boyd Hogan. He tried to go early. Helton went a little bit before that green flag. Not sure if Boyd Hogan's going to end up with a red flag or a black flag penalty, but he might have jumped that start just a little bit, but it might also work out if he didn't get the black flag. He's right trying side by side with Helton.
Well, here comes Braxton Deweese on the outside of Boyd Hogan as they work off of turn number 2. He's going to set his sights on Logan Helton. Picks one up and now goes to the inside of Logan Helton side by side. Fresher tires are going to prevail possibly as they head across the start-finish line. Back down into turn 1. It's going to be a side-by-side battle between Nexus and, of course, the Reaper Speed Lab Chevrolet of Braxton Deweese.
Braxton Deweese in his second start in the MSRA Premier Series is battling with Logan Helton for the lead. 4 to go in stage number 1. Can Deweese clear him? He goes up the racetrack and he does. New leader, the Braxton Deweese machine, the number 15, grabbing that lead away with 3 to go now in the stage, trying to hold off Logan Helton. Going into turns 1 and 2, continuing to pull away on the bottom. Joseph McWhorter, another one of those drivers on fresh tires, 23 laps old versus 63 laps old here at the front. McWhorter's going for more spots here in the stage end, but Braxton Deweese, he'll take the white flag in the stage this time by, and the 15 machine looking for his first stage top 10 finish, first stage top 5, and first stage win in his second start in the MSRA Premier Series. His first one was last round at Richmond. He becomes a stage winner at Bristol. Braxton Deweese takes the first stage of the night over Logan Helton.
What a drive indeed for Braxton Deweese as he takes his first stage win. And 10 extra bonus points. Of course, it won't really matter with him in the points, but just think of that momentum he now has in order to possibly utilize that later in tonight's race.
Your stage 1 winner tonight, presented by Shorba's Racing Graphics. SRG offers great services at affordable prices with iRacing paints, logos, numbers, and even t-shirts. $5 from each sale are donated to the Midwest Sim Racing Association end of season prize fund. Visit them on Facebook at Shorba's Racing Graphics. Pit stops, and it looks like everybody choosing to go in except for Chris Severa. He stays out, as well as the 44 of Derek Whitford, but your main leaders are in. Helton just pulls into his pit box looking for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. There goes Braxton Deweese in the 15, out and away, 14.3 in the box.
Great pit stop for Braxton Deweese, but as he comes across, let's see who will win the race off pit road. It will be Braxton Deweese, followed by Logan Helton, Boyd Hogan, then, of course, Joseph McWhorter and John Binders decided to stay out. So the next car would be Stephen Davis. So really good, interesting strategy calls. 3 cars have decided to stay out on the racetrack.
And John Binder's a little bit of an interesting one there. Looks like he's now going to come into the pit lane, so he's not going to be one of those drivers staying out. But at the front, Chris Severa staying out on 22 lap old tires now. Derek Whitford's tires are about 13 laps old. So Severa looks like he might be starting to bat for the fences, which 44 points above the cut line for Severa. You can make those wild strategy calls, but I would think a consistent night or a safe night for the 62 would be the most important thing for him to do tonight.
It certainly should be, but unfortunately, depending on how this strategy, how long this green flag run could go, could be a big factor for Chris Severa, and it's going to be tough for him to see what he can accomplish as those lap tires compared to brand new fresh Goodyear Eagles. It's going to be detrimental for him possibly.
you would have about 90 laps on those tires if this stage were to go green all the way to the end. Will it happen? We will find out as we continue to race through lap 70 of 250. Currently under caution for stage number 1. We are going to be going for roughly about 50 some odd green flag laps here in this stage. We'll be taking that stage checkered flag at about 130, lap 130, and then we'll go racing all the way to the end of 250 here tonight. We'll grab a quick Capital Auto pit road report before we go back to green. Based in Salem, Oregon, Capital Auto Group is a car dealer that will meet and exceed your high expectations each and every time. Their experienced sales staff is eager to share its knowledge and enthusiasm with you. You can browse the inventory online, schedule a test drive, and investigate finance options at www.capitalauto.com. That pit road report will be coming during the next yellow flag from somebody in the top 3 as we get ready to go back to racing. Severa and Whitford leading the field back to green. Fresh tires on the 63 and the 15 there in row 2, and everybody else back. Let's see how stage 2 gets underway. Severa's on the gas. We're underway.
Great jump by Chris Severa on the outside. That's going to allow Logan Helton to quickly get by on the outside ahead of Derek Whitford as they come down the back straightaway. Here comes Joseph McWhorter, who's going to also get into play, but here comes Helton to the inside of Severa.
On board with Braxton DeWeese as he watches all this happen, but take a look at Joseph McWhorter going to the bottom. Bottom line looks to be saving a ton of tires when it comes to the racetrack here at Bristol. So that bottom line is a little bit slower than the outside, but it will save those tires a lot more than that outside line will. So Helton, even when he's going to power around for the lead on Severa, is saving a bit more tires than that 62 is, running right up by the wall, almost making contact.
Depending on how much you want to try to carry speed, some drivers will go to the outside lane and then dime in the corners a little bit off corner exit as they work through here. That could be a good way to help conserve some of the tires as well as build up speed. But for the most part right now, just due to the fact of the tire comparison, Chris Severa is going to be struggling to try to maintain any position as here comes Joseph McWhorter. Braxton DeWeese is going to be the next car in line to try to get around him.
Side by side, McWhorter to the bottom, looking for P2. Exactly what he's going to get. Severa falls to P3. You're on board with DeWeese once again. Back to the bottom. Going side by side now with Chris Severa. Severa falling like a rock on those older tires. Same thing with the 44 of Derek Whitford, slapping the wall, coming off of a couple of these corners as well. As Helton goes back to the bottom for Braxton DeWeese, side by side for the lead. Here comes McWhorter to the bottom, looking to go back to back in the win column. He was the winner 1 week ago at Richmond, trying to fight with Logan Helton for the race lead now midway through the race at Bristol.
This could be a big momentum gainer for Joseph as well with that win last week at Richmond. He's going to try and fight his way to see if he can go back to back, but it's going to be tough to go against Logan Helton. Here comes Braxton DeWeese as well. He's going to get into this battle as they work through turns 1 and 2. Boyd Hogan working his way to the inside of Chris Severa for that 4th position as he will try to complete the pass off turn 4.
On board with the 44 of Whitford, and he is now found the driver who is pretty much on his same strategy, the 62 of Chris Severa. They continue to fall 5th and 6th now on the racetrack. They'll fall a little bit further as Clayton Hoffman going to try and catch up to him. But look at this top 3 battle. Logan Helton out in front. It pretty much in a must-win situation when it comes to the playoffs. He can race his way in on points, but if you win, you get into the next round. Points don't even matter at that point. Braxton DeWeese getting by Joseph McWhorter. A huge mistake for McWhorter. He slammed the wall coming off of the corner. Very slow on the outside line.
Very slow indeed, and I'm looking at the car.
Blown engine.
Blown engine. How is that possible? Did he put too much tape on the car?
It looks like there was front end damage to the car. I believe the radiator might have had a hole punched in it. Temps got too hot, and there goes the engine expiring, going on to turn number 3 and 4.
That is a tough break for Joseph, but that just shows you the highs and lows of racing. 1 week you are a winner in the Premier Series, the next you are out with a blown engine.
No smoke, just a ton of noise from that engine. Suddenly goes silent. Unfortunate for Joseph McWhorter. He will not be going back to back in from Richmond into Bristol. Battling here mid-pack, Derek Whitford trying to hold on as Clayton Hoffman just went by for P5, and now that McWhorter is out of this race, or out of the battle for the lead as well, Braxton DeWeese has a bit of time to make up. 6/10 up to Logan Helton. Pretty much the biggest gap to the lead anybody has had so far tonight, and the top three have all spread themselves out, make that top four as Clayton Hoffman gets by Severa for that spot.
This is a good opportunity for some of these drivers to stretch their legs out a little bit, get into a rhythm, and start logging laps now as we continually try to see if we can get a green flag run through the end of this stage as you're on board with Stephen Davis. He's going to try to see if he can find his way around the 31 of Greg Wanieski as they come down the front straightaway here. He is definitely going to be a man on a mission to try to get his way up through the field after his incidents he's had.
On board with Davis as he goes to the outside, and Wachinski cannot be a completed pass. He has a hornet's nest in front of him as Theodore goes side by side with Longaker into the corner. Still working that side by side, and this stage starting to work its way into the middle portion as we will throw that green and white checkered flag on lap number 120. Look at how close the 27 gets going through the corners and on the straightaways to that number 95 of Evan Longaker. Remember, Longaker is one of the drivers also from the MSRA National Series. He is not racing for points here as they get turned. Theodore goes up into the 95 and the caution flag flies.
Not what John Theodore needed after that, and I gotta say, tempers may flare here at Bristol after that.
The 95 of Longaker gets loose on the outside line right there. Makes contact with the 27 of John Theodore, goes up and into the wall, and that is that. And Theodore stuck on the bottom line. Here's another look at that incident. Didn't take John Theodore fully out of this race, but down into P14, that 29 points buffer to the cut line, definitely looking really good for that number 27.
It certainly is indeed, and as we only have 23 drivers, it's going to be a big help for some of them as we're on board with Davis to see what the situation is from his viewpoint, as he almost got some severe damage from that incident as well. Let's look. Big send, he'll dive into the bottom, maybe get Theodore's rear end a little bit, but was able to continue on.
Developments from pit road as well. Vincent Arthur also with an engine expiring. So two of the drivers who are already locked in to the next round of the playoffs losing their engines here tonight. Luckily, McWhorter got the win at Bristol. Luckily, Arthur is in on points. That is not going to affect the battle in the playoffs to make it into the round of make it into the round of 12. But just so unfortunate for both of those drivers who were looking for some more consistency coming in to Bristol. Getting ready for more action from the virtual Bristol, and we would like to thank Dirty Air 13 for their support of the MSRA Premier Series. You can visit twitch.tv/Dirty Air 13 to see Gary Sexton's streams as well as in-car perspectives of any race that he is participating in the MSRA Premier Series. Once again, that is twitch.tv/Dirty Air 13. Logan Helton holds the lead. Braxton DeWeese currently holding P2 as we continue to work under caution. Joshua Lee, Taylor Burris, Ryan Bauer with you here in the booth as we're under the stage yellow once again here, Taylor, and when the lights go out of the pace car, we're going to go back to racing. Only a handful of laps left here in the stage, but I don't think these drivers are going to calm down.
No, they certainly are not going to, and especially as we get closer and closer to the end of stage number 2, the intensity level will continue to skyrocket for some of these drivers who want to try to get as many points as possible. And as for a driver such as Logan Helton, he needs to try and capitalize and getting a stage win. A lot of drivers who he's competing in to move on to the next round have had some very tough shortages and tough problems, so he needs to make sure he survives this stage.
We will very quickly grab a word with the number 63, Logan Helton, for our Capital Auto Pit Road Report. Logan, how's that number 63 feeling as we get ready to go back racing?
It's feeling great. I just gotta take care of the tires more for the long run, but for the mid run, it feels awesome. For the short run, I kind of have to take it easy. Other than that, it's feeling good.
You've got a lot of fast guys breathing down your neck. Good luck here in the end of the stage. Well, Logan Helton leading the way in that number 63. He goes back onto the lab pedal. Braxton DeWeese sleeping at the line. Logan Helton retakes the lead as we go into 1.
Great jump indeed by Logan Helton as they come out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Clayton Hoffman caught sleeping as he'll drop down to 4th position. Boyd Hogan gets around Braxton DeWeese for 2nd as they come across the line here. It is going to be, of course, by the time they come back around, 30 laps left to go in the stage.
Working their way back into the corner. Caution flag is going to fly as we have an incident further back. Derek Whitford pointed the wrong way. As we cross over into 100 laps down, we are back under the yellow flag. Here's what happened to the 44. Derek Whitford just completely lost it going through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, tough break for him, and that's what old tires will really do for the driver, as he is still yet to pit. Since his incident, you're on board with Davis in the 91. That's Brandon. And you'll see the car cut loose on the 44. Derek Whitford now going to decide to come down pit road, but he has had some. He just actually recently came down on pit road not too long ago, but still a tough break for the Cool Breeze Racing Chevrolet, as well as the podium colored Davis Motorsports of Brandon Davis. And a big contact right there by the 61 of TJ Crampton by the looks of it.
That is TJ Crampton, and not the best season for Crampton, and this is definitely not going to improve himself in the stat book, and barely making contact with the 44 of Whitford right there it is, and slams into the inside pit wall. 5 top 5s on the season, or 5 top 10s, excuse me, on the season for Crampton. Doesn't look like this will be another one for that number 61 from Gem E-Racing. Back under the yellow flag, middle of the way through stage number 2. It is 30 to go roughly here in this stage, and as we continue on under the yellow flag, we'll grab a quick interview with the number 96 of Boyd Hogan. He sits in P2 now, and he's standing by with Taylor Burris.
Here with Boyd Hogan. Boyd, and a strong car you have out there with the Curb Record Chevrolet. Your thoughts and focus going to be for this rest of the stage?
Well, I was mainly on the tire conserving bus, and I think we got enough laps now. We can just go get it and see what happens. So that'll be the main focus.
We've been watching how some of the drivers have been utilizing both the inside and outside lanes for during these runs. The lane that you prefer, that you see working the best for you so far?
Well, we set up for bottom all week last week, so that's more so. I mean, ideally, I'd never want to come up off of it, but at the same time, you're gonna have to, and you're gonna have to, use both lanes to move through traffic and get by people. And the top is still the defensive lane, really, so it'll be going all night.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing what you can do through the rest of tonight's race. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
That is Boyd Hogan driving that number 96 Curb Record Chevrolet for Legacy Esports. I know he's been having a strong season all along, but of course we cannot thank our wonderful sponsor, Capital Auto Group.
Once again, these pit road reports are brought to you by Capital Auto Group, and we'll be giving you interviews and coverage from pit lane all night long by bringing them up here into the broadcast booth, letting you hear directly from the drivers sitting in the cars tonight around virtual Bristol, getting ready to go back to racing. Your leader is Logan Helton. Boyd Hogan P2. It's Hoffman, DeWeese, and Steven Davis rounding rounding out your top 5 positions on the racetrack. We'll go racing to 25 laps to go in stage number 2. We'll let you hear the sights and sounds of the last great Coliseum as we're back racing. Boyd Hogan jumping the start. Almost making contact in the battle for the lead. Boyd Hogan inside, Helton outside. They make contact again as they go into 3.
Beating and banging is already still one of the things that happen you see at Bristol, and it's no suggestion that we will see it here in the virtual world. Side by side between the top 2 as they come down the back straightaway. Helton has the advantage on the outside defending. Boyd Hogan going to stick to the bottom of the racetrack as they come off turn 4. Helton with that outside momentum, though, is going to keep him in the race lead.
Remember, the tires fall off a little bit more when you're using that outside line, so Helton needs to be careful. Still have a handful of laps remaining in this stage. Look at Hogan with the run on the bottom. It's not going to be enough to defeat the run on the outside line. This outside line at Bristol Taylor just gets immense momentum on the exit of turn 2 and the exit of turn 4. Can't beat Boyd Hogan in the middle, though. That inside line, perfect from entry to middle, but look at the run on exit for Helton. Just powers right back around.
It certainly works for now, but depending on how long these two go side by side, Helton can start to have some issues and actually lose that grip that he so desperately needs and fall back. So he's got to be careful. He has got to be a little bit careful and show balance and aggression in order to try to hold on to this race lead here through the rest of this stage.
We're going to cross over in a 15 to go in the stage, this time by when Logan Helton crosses the finish line there. So Boyd Hogan only has 15 laps left to try and walk away with this stage win. Now remember, these stage points are going to be crucial for Logan Helton to try and get himself into the top 12 when it comes to the point standings. He came into this race 8 points under the cut line. A win would lock him in, but these stage points could help him get above the cut line and not even need the race win. Mullins and York are both way down the order. Mullins in P2, York's in P22. Logan Helton already has points to get himself above the cut line, but a win would be oh so sweet. But he's still trying to get the max stage points as possible and go for his 7th stage win of the season.
He's going to have to hold on for another 10 laps here once they come across the start-finish line momentarily, as they still remain side by side for the race lead. Drawn Boyd Hogan in 2nd place as they go side by side still. Hogan to the inside, said he's going to stick to the bottom for as much as possible. Helton decides to stay to the top side of the racetrack as they come through 3 and 4.
Hogan got a little bit loose on the bottom line as well. 10 to go here in stage 2. Hogan back to the bottom, trying to make it work. Helton now moving back from the wall, down a little bit further to around the midline through 1 and 2. He goes back to the top in 3 and 4. What a run coming onto the front straightaway. He'll lead another lap here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Helton, once again, he's looking for his 7th stage win of the season. Hogan is looking for his 25th stage win of the season. They stay side by side as we have 8 to go.
8 laps to go for Logan Helton as he tries to hold off one of the strong contenders of the MSRA Premier Series. Boyd Hogan just going to be right on that back bumper as they work through turns 1 and 3 and 4 now. Coming across the start-finish line, it is going to be 7 laps to go.
24 stage wins for Boyd Hogan this season in 20 starts. Needless to say, he is almost perfect. And you can see Daytona win, Darlington win. He was only beat by Joseph McWhorter last week, trying to get back to his winning ways here at Bristol. And that starts with a stage win, almost making contact with Helton again. It'll be 5 to go at the start-finish line. They dive it into the corner. What can Helton do? He'll clear Boyd Hogan going into one, only for the moment. Here comes the 96 back to the bottom.
He's going to stick to the bottom of the racetrack, move up maybe about a half a lane through the corner as they still remain side by side for the race lead off of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. Lap traffic could possibly come into a play here before this stage is over with as they rocket off of turn number 2.
Helton missed the first race of the playoffs at Darlington. That set him back for Richmond, a disastrous night in Virginia last week. Brought him into 8 points down from the cut line. This stage win is going to help him even more. Racing back into turn number 3, back to the stripe. It'll be 2 to go in stage number 2. Helton holds the lead. Can Hogan go for this stage win? Is he willing to raise the aggression and go for the stage 2 win, his 25th of the season? 2 laps to go. Now make it 1 to go here in stage number 2. Let's see what happens through turns 1 and 2. No bumper being given. Hogan gonna look back to the bottom. Through 3 and 4, side by side, door to door. At the line, the photo finish for the stage. Logan Helton takes the stage 2 win from Bristol.
What a drive by the Nexus Esports driver of Logan Helton to be able to hold off Boyd Hogan for that, and much needed points for Logan Helton to hopefully move him on to the next round.
What a stage 2 win for Logan Helton, his 7th stage win of the season. Your stage 2 winner is presented by HutchCo. HutchCo has been proudly serving the northeastern Colorado community since 1999, pouring the foundations of countless homes and shops. The MSRA commemorates their service as their business ends operations. HutchCo has long desired to be involved in racing and has joined the Premier Series to fulfill that dream. Thanks to HutchCo for their service. Everybody is into the pit lane except for the 64 of John Mullins and the 95 of Evan Longaker, but the stories from pit road continue as Logan Helton going for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Who is going to be the first out of the pit lane?
Jack has been dropped on Logan Helton. He will win that race off of pit road. How about Steven Davis? Possibly getting second. No, he will drop to 3rd behind Boyd Hogan, who will get 2nd. Clayton Hoffman 4th, and then Greg Wachinski, who will round out your top 5 off of pit road. So we'll see what happens as 2 drivers, John Mullins and Evan Longaker, will stay on the track. And as I speak, Evan now goes down pit road.
Continuing to work under the yellow flag, there goes a handful more drivers down in the pit lane, and that'll be everybody on the lead lap in and completed with service. So everybody now is going to be on 4 fresh Goodyear tires as we'll be getting ready to go back to racing here in stage number 3 of action. And we continue with our Capital Auto Group pit road reports tonight with the number 92 machine of Steven Davis. Currently runs P3 on the racetrack. Joins us in the broadcast booth now. Steven, how's that Ford Mustang feeling for you out there? It looks pretty quick running in P3 right now.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels much better than last weekend. I appreciate my brother throwing up some practice sessions for me to be able to practice and prepare for tonight. And it's been pretty fun. I have some close calls, especially that exit of pit lane. That was real fun. And we're going to see how this goes.
Any changes you're thinking about making to the car in future pit stops, or are you going to keep that 92 how it is now, run it all the way to 250?
Oh, it's definitely feeling just fine. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and we'll see how it goes from here.
So no complaints within you and the 92 machine. Good luck here in stage number 3. Hopefully we're talking to you in victory lane.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Good to hear from Stephen Davis. Looking for a good finish here at Bristol. Has a fast Podium Esports Ford Mustang to do it, and a mighty fine-looking Podium Esports Ford Mustang, if I do say so myself. Getting ready to go back to racing here under Stage 3, and interesting to hear Stephen Davis really loving that race car. We don't normally hear that from drivers at Bristol, Taylor.
No, we certainly do not indeed, and it's going to be a big excitement to see what he can do here in the final stage tonight. And as we get ready to go back racing, that 92 certainly does have the speed to have a good top 5, maybe sneak a win if the top 2 decide to get into a battle.
As they work their way down the back straightaway 2 by 2. It's time to go back to racing stage number 3. You can see by the lap counter, we are running out of laps. Only about 115 to go. Let's go for stage 3. Helton's on the lap pedal. We're back racing.
Field getting up to speed as they work off of turn number 2. Logan Helton gets a great jump on the rest of the field as he sticks to the bottom of the racetrack. Boyd Hogan will follow in second, followed by Clayton Hoffman in third position. There's Stephen Davis. We just got done talking to him. He will drop to 4th, but Braxton DeWeese is in hard charging mode up to the 5th spot.
Great jump, definitely not an hyperbole, as around goes Derek Whitford. Contact with the 38 of John Binder, and 2 cars around back straightaway. Caution flag is out at the first part of stage 3.
That was an interesting situation for the 44 of Derek Whitford. Let's see what happens. Does he just do the same thing? Yes, indeed. Loses back into the race car through the middle of the corner and doesn't seem to hold the brakes as he's trying to gather it back up. And unfortunately for John Binder, he's just an innocent bystander in that situation.
Another look as we go on board with Binder. Working into the corner. You see Ben Myatt in front of him here. There goes Whitford starting to lose it. And right at the track. Nowhere for Binder to go. Also makes contact with the 27 of John Theodore to his outside as well. And that leads to the yellow flag. Here's an onboard for John Theodore. Coming to the back straightaway here is entering turn number 1. You see the 38 on the inside, following with the 62 of Sivera. There was that slight contact, just the slightest bit on that left side. Doesn't look like any huge damage. Theodore, of course, still with damage from earlier on in this race. He's still in it, though, P11. So we go back under the yellow flag, and now going to reset the field one more time. It was an amazing start from Logan Helton there at the beginning of stage 3. Exactly what he needs to do here on the restart when we go back to racing. You're tuning into live coverage of the MSRA Premier Series Playoffs Round of 16 elimination race from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Don't go anywhere. It's more green flag action coming up next on Podium.
I went to Fantastic Sam's and they helped me find a style that highlights my wild side.
Fantastic Sam's cut and color. Looks good on you.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
The key is being true to who you are, finding your own style. I go to Fantastic Sam's because I get the look I want.
Fantastic Sam's cut and color. Looks good on you.
Welcome back to live coverage of the MSRA Premier Series Playoffs elimination race for the round of 16 from virtual Bristol. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Taylor Burris with Ryan Bauer in the virtual production trailer using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Lights out on the pace car. Taylor, we're getting ready to go back to racing in stage 3. Not the longest final stage we could have had, but still longer than those middle stages. We have not really had a longer green flag run than roughly about 40 some odd laps. So if we go green to the end from here, these drivers will be dealing with a lot older tires than they were before.
They certainly will be. So it's going to be a mix of strategies of what to do when that time rolls around and how well you can manage your tires. Running up towards the top side of the racetrack is not going to help you out at all. It's going to cause those tires to wear very quickly, but running towards the bottom, like we've heard, will help save those tires as we go back green.
Helton on the loud pedal. Let's go back to racing. What a start from Boyd Hogan, though. He's going to have that momentum on the bottom line. Goes side by side for the lead once again. Hogan almost coming up in front of the 63. Was not at him clear. Still side by side. Does he have momentum off the corner? Look at Helton fighting back on the outside.
Helton's going to try to hold back, but almost hits the wall. Trouble for the 92 of Stephen Davis. He'll get up into the wall on the out of turn number 2 as they continue to battle for the race lead.
Side by side now with Shorba goes Davis. They're still side by side for the race lead as Helton uses that outside line. Boyd Hogan on the bottom. Does he have enough to clear him? No, he does not. They stay door to door. They stay side by side. Hogan gets loose on the inside line. Maybe pushes Helton up a little bit. Loose again off the corner goes Hogan. Helton trying to hold it on that outside line. Hogan trying to fight on that inside. He used that inside line to his advantage. It's not working as well as the outside line right now. As Helton gonna power around like a freight train, maybe have Hogan cleared, but he stays to the outside. Now Helton is loose.
Helton is definitely trying to hold on, and he tries to complete the pass, which he will, to the inside lane. He will go to now try to start pulling a little bit of a gap over Boyd Hogan, as it's now separated by about 0.2 of a second between the top two. Throw in the 12 of Clayton Hoffman, who is starting to reel in your top two. In fact, was actually faster than both of them last time by as they come off turn 4. Take a look at the lap times here and give the fastest time to race leader Logan Helton.
Great laps for Helton now as he's going to pull back into the lead for Boyd Hogan. Just trying to fight now at the front of the field and keep that lead. He's extending that lead by relatively a good bit. That 63 really working for Helton right now at the front. Battle for 4th. Brexton DeWeese, stage 1 winner, trying to hold off Greg Wyszynski in the 31 past the stripe.
He certainly is trying to hold off Greg Wyszynski in that 4th position as they come off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Wyszynski's having a quiet night, but a very strong night for him as he's picked up a couple of stage points, and now he wants to try to stay inside the top 5 for the rest of this race and maybe have a shot to go battle for a podium here as they are running some very fast lap times.
On board with that 31 of Wyszynski, trying to keep this momentum going here, running P5. A great night for Wyszynski so far. He only has 1 top 5 on the season, but 5 top 10s. He knows what to do when it comes to consistency and finishing a race. Just trying to finish one for the 2nd time in the top 5 this season for the MSR8 Premier Series. Gap starting to close up for the lead. Side by side once again, Jacob Shorba and Stephen Davis for P6. John Mullen's going to go into that group as Boyd Hogan looks up at Logan Helton. Here's that battle. Contact made in between Davis and Mullins. Davis gets set to the apron.
Big issue for Davis as he has had struggling right now to hold on to that 92 as he's going to fall back quite a bit further ways to the 8th position as Kenny Powell. He's going to take a peek also to try to get around him with some damage to the nose of that number 7 as he comes off of turn number 2. He's going to stick to the bottom, crawls up behind his competitor of the 92 and not able to get any more closer that time.
It looks like a huge fight right now just to find what lane is useful. That seems to be what everybody wants to know. That seems to be the magic question right now, Taylor, is what lane to run, because you can make passes on that outside line, but there's a reason we're seeing a lot of drivers running the bottom, conserving the tires. I think a lot of the drivers in this field now are looking at where we are here in stage 3, the amount of cars on the racetrack, and thinking we're going to go green to the end, which is leading to a ton of cars on the bottom line, shades of old Bristol.
Certainly is some shades of old Bristol that we've been seeing all weekend throughout the world of NASCAR racing, using that bottom lane to come into big plays here to help out, as that bottom lane is the preferred groove in order to work around the field and get around the track as they come down the back straightaway heading back into turn 3. Great racing action as they work around the lap car of Ben Myatt.
The outside goes Mullins, gets around Davis and Kenny Powell at the tail end of that line. They will catch up now to Ben Myatt, and what a disastrous night for the 20 of Ben Myatt here. Was on the outside looking in by 36 points to the playoffs. Needed a must win here at Bristol, and now he's going to go another lap down onto one lap down, lose lap for the first time, I should say, and continue to fall back. Only one top 5 and 3 top 10s for the season for Ben Myatt. Hopefully these last 7 rounds will have a bit more success for that number 20 machine. Talk about success, we gotta talk about Braxton DeWeese there in the 15 for Reaper Speed Lab. His second start in the MSRA Premier Series, and he got the Stage 1 win tonight. Still looking for his first top 5 and top 10 of the season.
Certainly is, and doing a phenomenal job of it with already winning Stage 1 and seeing he's still inside the top 5. He's going to continue on with a great run here for the rookie as he keeps up with the 12 of Clayton Hoffman, another rookie for the MSRA Premier Series.
Had to go back and check the notes. Braxton DeWeese did start the last round at Richmond, started 17th, finished 17th. Clayton Hoffman, what a year it has been for this driver out of Gas and Go Racing. Currently inside the good to the cut line, 25 points when we entered tonight, and consistent finish at Daytona P2 and a photo finish with Boyd Hogan. But that number 12 machine has been quick all season. 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s. Still looking for that first stage win, but he got a race win a couple of rounds ago earlier on in this season. That win coming at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So Clayton Hoffman knows how to win on tough racetracks.
Certainly does, and what 2 tough racetracks indeed. Atlanta and of course here at Bristol, one of the toughest short tracks to negotiate here as they work through turns 1 and 2. 170 laps are about to be put up on the board. 80 laps to go for your race leader, and looking at this gap right now, Boyd Hogan has caught back up to the back bumper of Logan Helton once again, brought that gap down to less than 0.4 of a second, but now gets a little loose off of turn 2 as they try to work around the 95, who decides to come back up the racetrack. A close call indeed. That's going to cause some separations.
Oh, and there's a huge battle going on back around Kenny Powell right now. John Mullins powers around. John Theodore involved in this one as well. Ryan Strunk there in the 77, currently 84 laps down. Don't worry about him. He's just joining this fight to watch it from the best seat in the house. Side by side, Mullins on the outside line. He's going to power around Kenny Powell, but here comes John Theodore. Is he going to try and make it 3 wide? Decides against it. Powell almost makes contact with the 27.
Powell's going to make a power move to the inside of Theodore as they work off of turn number 4 as they come across the start-finish line, give the position back to John Theodore, but Powell is still going to try to utilize that inside line, but you're on board with Ryan Strunk, who's going to stay on the outside.
Trying to fight on that outside line to try and just get some track position, maybe try and get a couple of laps back. 84 laps down. Not good for the 77, Ryan Strunk. On board, Chris Cesevera. He had a great run at the beginning of this race and just add some issues earlier on as John Theodore almost makes contact with the 7 of Powell. That's going to move Theodore down into P11, put the 62 back up into the top 10. And look at Brandon Davis, another one of those drivers who is on the outside looking in terms of track position, 23 laps down after an incident earlier.
Certainly is indeed. That's going to be a tough break for him as he's trying to recover. Brandon Davis involved in multiple incidents early on as Strunk gets really loose off of turn 4, is able to gather it back up and move on, but that could have been bad.
They continue to fight in this hornet's nest. Everybody finding each other now with 73 to go. Here from Bristol, Severa makes it past Mullins. Now Theodore going to try and get back by Mullins, but he has the door slammed on him. Powell going to hold that bottom line as Mullins and Theodore go side by side once again. Theodore dives to the bottom, so does Severa. 2 by 2 for 2 rows deep. Severa going to take that 8th spot.
Severa definitely a man on a mission now. He's been involved in a couple of incidents, has made some mistakes, but is recovering nicely in that 8th position. Has a little bit of beating and banging happening between your top 2. Hogan gives a little bit of a chrome horn to Logan Helton as they come down the backstretch.
Helton at this point should be above the cut line when it comes to points, but I know that 63 is not thinking about points right now. He's thinking about winning this race. 69 to go from Bristol, and Boyd Hogan is on that back bumper. To the bottom goes the 96. The battle for the lead heats up in 3 and 4. Going for the lead at Bristol is Boyd Hogan. He could not make it stick on the bottom.
He's going to have to be patient, trying to find a different way to try and put the pressure on Logan Helton for the race lead as they head through 3 and 4. Lap traffic is up ahead of your race leaders as they come across the start-finish line.
Boyd Hogan fighting all he can to try and get around the 63 of Logan Helton. Could not make it work on the bottom line. He goes to try again as the 63 of Helton goes up the racetrack. That run on the outside is too strong, and Hogan just unlucky on that bottom line. Cannot get back to the number 63. He gets close, but cannot complete that pass. This is going to be a long, drawn-out battle between these top two for the win. The two fastest cars on the racetrack, both fighting for this race win.
They certainly are, and they're going to continue to fight for this race win. A lot is at stake here. Of course, for Boyd Hogan, he's guaranteed a spot into the next round, but for Logan Helton, it's a possibility of him to move on to the next round, as they will continue to battle down into turns 1 and 2 as they come down the back straightaway. They are approaching the 64 of John Mullins.
Racing now on to lap number 64. They split John Mullins down the middle, racing into the corner. They put Mullins now 1 lap down, and they keep racing at the front. Helton keeps the lead. Hogan keeps P2. They're catching up to a handful of cars now. John Theodore is going to be the next one to go 1 lap down. The next car they're going to reach, the 91 of Brandon Davis and the 20 of Ben Myatt. How are they going to navigate these lap machines?
They're going to have to find something quickly and be patient and pick the line they want to use. Remember, Logan Helton lost the race lead because of a lap car got in his way. So he has to be patient, pick his lines, and be defensive to keep Boyd Hogan behind him.
On board of John Theodore, he's going to be the next driver to be put a lap down from the lead lap. We have 10 cars on the lead lap currently with 60 to go. Make that 9 as Helton goes to the bottom of John Theodore in the 27. Oh, the 31 in the apron almost comes up onto the racetrack. The leaders are able to avoid him, but Helton leading the way, still holding off Boyd Hogan, even as he is cutting his way through these lap machines as Greg Wachinski in the 31 dives into the pit lane. He's 1 lap down. No need to worry about that pit strategy.
He certainly is indeed as they work around Ben Myatt as they dive it back up to the top side of the racetrack as they come off of turn 1 and 2.
Myatt going to go back into the middle of these leaders. This is holding up Boyd Hogan now. What's Myatt going to do? Looking to catch up a little bit to Helton. Remember, Myatt pitted 3 laps ago, so he is on much fresher tires than any of these leaders. He is not passing Helton for the lead. He will, however, go from 5 laps down to 4 laps down and pull away from your race leader, at least in theory with those fresh tires. There he goes, using that outside line. Powers around the race leader of Logan Helton. Leave Helton to fight in the lead lap. Working their way now onto the front straightaway. 55 laps to go from Bristol. The battle for the lead is still heating up. And Taylor, they were close to making contact plenty of times. Hogan was close to getting that lead plenty of times. But Helton has been strong through stage 2 and 3, holding this race lead.
He certainly has, and that just shows the car control and the setup that Logan Helton Nexus Esports were able to come up with for this race weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. Bristol may seem like a simple track to run and set up for, but it is not. You have 2 different lanes to work off of. One lane will help protect the tires. The other will be good on corner exit, but could definitely chew up those tires, and where you need to be careful with strategy calls. And Logan has played it perfectly as we see Clayton Hoffman down on pit road.
So with Hoffman pitting, we could very well see your leader start to come down. Now, I'm not going to say anything until a lead lap car comes into the pit lane. It'll all depend really on if these lead lap cars come down, because if you are one lap down, you can make a little bit more of an oddball strategy call, Taylor, and not really lose much, because you're already one lap down. You're not going to have the risk of going off of the lead lap. You're already off of the lead lap. And Clayton Hoffman safe and into the next round of the playoffs. Of course, if he doesn't wreck out of this race, it looks like he is good with his 25 points coming into this race, so he can make that bold strategy call. I'll be interested to see if any of these lead lap cars come in, like Shorba, like Severa, who are sitting 5th and 6th. Maybe try and pull an undercut on Logan Helton and Boyd Hogan at the front.
It would be an interesting strategy call indeed to see if that could work out, as we see Boyd Hogan dive into the bottom of the racetrack. Jacob Shorba taps the wall a little bit coming off of turn 4. Hogan actually slows up a little bit as they try to negotiate the lap traffic.
Shorba going to go up the racetrack. That'll put everybody but the top 5 now one lap down here from Bristol. Clayton Hoffman on fresh tires, right to the back bumper of Logan Helton. He'll go from 2 down to 1 down. Helton currently still holds the lead. He goes to the outside line. Hogan's now up on the outside line as well. This could get interesting. Who's going to go to the bottom? Helton goes up to the wall, or Hogan goes up to the wall rather, gives it a little bit of a kiss. He's able to stay off of it for too long. Hogan back to the bottom, Helton back to the top side as they catch up to Ryan Strunk.
It's going to be an interesting battle here as the laps continue to wind down. When will we see our top 3 come down pit road? We will find out here in the closing stages. 46 laps to go, making 45 laps to go for your top 2.
Great job holding the lead for Logan Helton. Hogan gonna go back to the bottom of the racetrack. That curve record's number 96 for Legacy Esports, trying to get that lead away from the Nexus Esports number 63 of Logan Helton. These are the 2 fastest drivers on the racetrack. They've been the 2 fastest drivers all night, and they are battling for the lead at Bristol with 43 laps to go. Put Petty on the board.
What a battle indeed here as they continue to battle nose to tail, side by side. More lap traffic in front of your race leaders as they come off of turn number 4. Now make it 42 laps to go.
Helton using all the defense he possibly can. A lot of these lap machines he is using as picks, but take a look at this. A wall in front of him. Mullins is going to dive into the pit lane. That takes 1 car out of this scenario, but Derek Whitford is still in the picture as he sits P9, 1 lap down. Helton going to catch up to the 44. Look at Boyd Hogan falling back a little bit. The gap now goes to 5/10. Contact made at the front. Derek Whitford just barely clear of Logan Helton. The 63 started to come up the racetrack, almost makes contact. That could have been disastrous for your race leader.
It certainly could have been indeed for your race leader, as he now has the largest gap he's had for quite some time, 0.6 of a second over Boyd Hogan as they still negotiate through lap traffic.
On board with Boyd Hogan, P2 currently, with nobody around him, and with Helton not in front of him, going up to the outside line there for a moment, gave it a shot, goes back to the bottom. I believe at the front of this field, Taylor, I doubt we're going to see any of these lead lap cars come in. As they're about to put Chris Severa a lap down, it'll be the top 4 that'll stay on the lead lap. Steven Davis, Braxton Deweese, Boyd Hogan, and Logan Helton. Helton and Hogan fighting for this race lead right now. But I don't think we're going to see these lead lap cars come into the pit lane. It's going to be too detrimental to them, because when you pit here at Bristol, you lose at least 1 lap, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on how long that pit stop is.
It certainly is. So pretty much it is going to be that they have already made their pit. They have to now stay in it and hold on for the closing stages, as we see a big move by Logan Helton to get around, of course, Davis along with Severa as they come down the backstretch.
Gap goes to 0.6 for the race lead, as Steven Davis and Chris Severa going to be put a lap down, and Steven Davis fighting back on the outside line. Once Steven Davis goes a lap down, which I'm thinking he will here very soon as Helton continues to try and fight around him. Here comes Boyd Hogan into the picture. But as they continue to fight at the front, this is going to get very scary for Helton and Hogan as they try and fight for the lead around these cars. But everybody is going to go one lap down except for Braxton DeWeese, who is just a little bit further up the road. He's crossing the start-finish line right now as Helton gets a shot from Davis. They're bumper cars at the front of the field.
Chaos is already ramping up even more so as they work their way through lap traffic. Boyd Hogan now in the hornet's nest of faster cars with fresher tires. Clayton Hoffman has now caught up as he's now still one lap down trying to unlap himself. Hoffman almost gets turned around.
The gap at the front of the field, the longest it's been all night long, with over 1 second now separating Helton and Hogan. Here was the contact, trying to get around Steven Davis, and Davis did not want to get around, or did not want to go one lap down, trying to keep Helton behind him. They met in the middle of the racetrack. Severa gets the worst of it, almost spitting out. He loses a ton of time, but Braxton DeWeese from the lead lap is into the pit lane for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. The move is now for Helton and Hogan, the only 2 drivers left on the lead lap. Will any of them go for a pit stop here in the closing stages of this race? Inside 30 laps to go from Bristol, exactly 28 to go, and we'll give you our Strunk PC ones to watch. Check out Strunk PC on Facebook for your computer repair needs. And out in front, Taylor, I think the guess right now is Logan Helton to win, but do you think Boyd Hogan can catch up in time, or do you think we're going to see an interesting pit strategy here at the end?
It's a tough call indeed, and it all depends on how the lap traffic fares for Logan Helton as well. We saw how Logan almost got caught up in a major incident with lap traffic. Boyd Hogan now playing a little bit defensive. He's actually struggling with that race car, getting a little bit loose off corner exit now.
Not sunshine and rainbows anymore for Boyd Hogan as he starts to fall closer and closer back. 1.5 seconds is the gap between Helton and Hogan at the front of the field. 24 to go at the line. Time is running out for Boyd Hogan. Can Helton hold this race lead? And can Boyd Hogan do anything about it? Will we see these lead guys come into the pit lane, take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and try and go for the race win? I think now if you're Logan Helton, Taylor, pit road is the last thing that you want to be thinking about. Maybe Boyd Hogan is starting to think it could be a good strategy if he doesn't reach traffic, but that's the main thing at Bristol is the traffic.
It certainly is indeed, and it's going to be a tough call to make, and unfortunately for Logan, he cannot afford to come down pit road in these closing stages. Boyd Hogan, possibly, but it still not would be the best appropriate call as he scrapes the wall off of turn 4.
Now the fastest lap from Boyd Hogan, 14.692. Fastest lap from, or the last lap, excuse me, from Boyd Hogan, 16.054. So we'll say about second and a half lost on these tires. They're on 97 lap old tires, make that 98 as he crosses the line. With 20 to go, if he pits for fresh tires, he's going to gain about a second on Logan Helton, which sounds like a lot, but with only 20 to go, make it 19 as Helton already back to the start-finish line. That is not a ton of time when it comes to Bristol, and he's going to have to navigate the traffic if he pits as well. Boyd Hogan is in a very tough scenario right now. Does he pit, or does he stay out on the tires that he knows are shot? He's letting cars go right past by him that are 1 lap down, just trying to hold on to the race car.
It's going to be a tough call indeed to make right here as Boyd Hogan has fallen off pace. He's over almost a second with that between the two, and now the farthest gap we've seen all night long.
Logan Helton only losing about a second, 0.3 tenths when it comes to those tires in terms of lap time. Boyd Hogan almost losing a full second and a half. On board with 6th place now, Braxton DeWeese, your stage number 1 winner. When he came into the pit lane, he went 2 laps down, trying to get that lap back from Logan Helton. Braxton Deweese on 14-lap old tires, 102-lap old tires for Logan Helton. Talk about Chris Sever and Jacob Shorba. They're now 1 lap down. They're on the same pit strategy as Helton and Hogan, 102-lap old tires for the 62 and the 30 with 15 to go.
Big momentum here for Logan Helton as he leads the field right now. There's only one other car on the lead lap, and that's Boyd Hogan, who is struggling to try to hold off some lap cars who are trying to get around him so they can go and unlap themselves here in the closing stages in case of a caution were to come out. But as they work their way through turns 3 and 4, he is still struggling on that outside lane, almost scraped the wall again.
The word caution and the color yellow. I don't think Boyd Hogan or Logan Helton wants to see. Maybe Boyd Hogan, but the problem is, if we do get a yellow flag this late in this race, gotta believe anybody who has recently pitted. I'm talking about Steven Davis as Wachinski goes around. The 31 gets spun on the front straightaway. Question is race control gonna throw a caution? We stay green. He's trying to reverse it and get back going. There goes Logan Helton. Race control is not throwing a yellow flag. Neither is the iRacing server. Wachinski is trying to get that car back going straight, and he will. Helton gets a gift. He better give a Christmas card to Wachinski this year. 10 to go. We stay green.
What a big time save for Logan Helton right there after Wachinski's incident. He is still going to be on the lead lap and the race leader. Big time survival mode here for him.
I almost thought Eric Messer was going to have one of the best Twitter clips of all time, but he did not. That was no caution, very close, but no caution. Helton continues to lead. We are now inside 10 to go, make it inside 9 to go as we go 8 laps remaining here from Bristol. And the gap now over 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds from Helton to Hogan. Clayton Hoffman looking to try and get his lap back. He is catching up to the 63 of Logan Helton. And coming into tonight, Taylor, it was all talk about points. Logan Helton, 8 points back from the cut line coming into tonight. He already got a back above the cut line with his stage finishes. Stage 2 win, stage 1 second place, total of 19 stage points for the night. He got above the cut line there, but nothing is sweeter than a win in the playoffs, and not much else is sweeter than a win at Bristol.
Certainly is not, indeed, and as he tries to continue to hold on to this race lead, it is exciting to see Logan Helton possibly be able to guarantee his spot in the next round here.
Still working in the lead, using that outside line. Hoffman trying to get his lap back. Remember, this is not a battle for the lead. Helton is 4.2 seconds in front of the only other driver on the lead lap, which is currently Boyd Hogan. The 63 and the 96 battled all night. They had intense speed the entire night as well. And as we go 3 to go, Logan Helton looking to put away a great finish here from the Bristol Motor Speedway at the front of the field. And with 2 to go when they come across the line, you can remember back to one of the earlier broadcasts of the MSRA Premier Series here on Podium Esports from the Bristol dirt track. It was Logan Helton victorious over Boyd Hogan there. They finished exactly how they are now, 1 and 2. And we take the white flag. It's 1 to go, sponsored by Canterbury RV. This race is official and looking to clinch his spot and punch his ticket into the round of 12 for the MSRA Premier Series playoffs. It's Logan Helton victorious at Bristol.
What a drive for Logan Helton as he takes home the checkered flag. Boyd Hogan comes back in second place. And then we have to wait another lap for the rest of the field as they are currently 1 lap down. But a big push of momentum for Logan Helton here tonight.
2 cars finish on the lead lap. It's Logan Helton at the front of the field, and he is going to burn it down here at the last great Coliseum. Locks himself into the round of 12 for the playoffs.
A great big sigh of relief I can already see for Logan Helton as he burns it down. He will now continue his quest for a championship.
Next is esports number 63. We know he's always fast, and he'll put his name into the win column for the 4th time this season. His first win since Watkins Glen. He also got a win on a short track earlier this season at Martinsville Speedway, and like we mentioned, Bristol dirt track win for the 63 of Logan Helton. 4th win, 11th top 5, and 12th top 10 for the 63 of Logan Helton. Polish victory lap, shades of Alan Kulwicki here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And the 63 SNG graphics for number 63 machine for Nexus Esports is gonna burn it down one more time on the front straightaway and take the race win in the Fantastic Sam's 125. What a night from Virtual Bristol. It's Logan Helton grabbing the win. Boyd Hogan, the last driver on the lead lap, finishes in P2. Clayton Hoffman, Chris Severa, Braxton DeWeese round out your top 5. That 15 machine was your stage 1 winner tonight. Stephen Davis finishes in 6th. It's Jacob Shorba, John Mullins, John Theodore, and Derek Whitford rounding out your top 10.
As we move on to 11th position, it's going to be Greg Wachowski, who will come home there. Ben Myatt, unfortunately, his quest for a championship comes to a close in 12th position. John Binder comes home 13th, followed by Brandon Davis in 14th. Kenny Powell, 15th, followed by Evan Longacre in 16th. Ryan Strunk, 17th. TJ Crampton, 18th. Vincent Arthur, 19th. Rounding out your top 20, Joseph McWhorter.
Back from there, all the way to P23, David Santini, Rob Hutchison, and Zach York finishing off the pace. Looks like Ben Myatt and Zach York have both been eliminated, I believe, based on finish. We're also looking at John Mullins being eliminated, but we'll have to wait for the official points to update, and we'll have your next 12 to race in the MSRA Premier Series Playoffs round of 12 when we go live next week here on Podium Esports for the first race of the round of 12 from the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You do not want to miss that one live on Podium Esports. The post-race show begins with an interview with your race winner, Logan Helton, in the number 63. He joins us in the booth now. Logan, you came into tonight, don't want to say in a must-win situation because you could get in on points, but a win was all that was on your mind. How does this one feel? You go back-to-back at Bristol, one in the dirt, one in the pavement.
Man, I really like Bristol, I guess. I had a lot of fun in that race on Boyd. I knew my point situation coming in. I was 8 points out, and I knew I could point my way in, but a win, like you said, was all I wanted.
And it was what you needed, and you will for sure go racing in the round of 12 when it comes to the MSRA Premier Series playoffs. What is your strategy going into that round? It's Las Vegas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval, 3 completely different tracks in the next round. Can you keep consistent and maybe grab a win at one of those racetracks and work your way into the round of 8, continue the championship hopes?
I'm looking at what will probably be an exciting race at Las Vegas. I'm looking for what will be a single file race at Talladega if we don't get an update. But I still love the package and the Cup car at Super Speedways. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that one, but I think it's awesome. So I'm really looking forward to Talladega, and obviously the road course at Charlotte. I'm excited for that. I love my road course racing in this Cup car.
And of course, continuing on through the remainder rounds, if you do end up working your way out of the round of 12 into the round of 8, what are your chances that you see making it into the round of 4, racing for a championship at Phoenix and trying to be the champion of 2021 in the MSRA Premier Series against such a tough competition?
Well, if I can't point my way in the round of 8, I'm looking at Martinsville, because that's where my second win of the season came this year. I really liked that track. I really had my braking down, and me and Boyd again had an awesome battle there. I'm trying to think. I think all my wins this season so far have come down to me being first, and I think Boyd was second, except Watkins Glen. I don't think he was there for that one.
Well, thank you so much for joining us post-race, Logan. Congratulations on your race win from Virtual Bristol.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from the 63 of Logan Helton. We continue the post-race show by going from first to second place with Boyd Hogan in the 96, standing by with Taylor Burris.
A strong points night for Boyd Hogan, coming home in second place. Boyd, did he just run out of tires towards that end of that run?
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much. It was just loosened it up too much for the race and didn't really get a chance to test it till that last run there because, you know, they wouldn't stop wrecking. So not a big shocker, but yeah, it was just too free long run. Lap cars were idiots and clean air was king. Love it. Love the Cup car, man. Everything's great.
Well, as we look ahead to the next round, you know, we have a lot of different races coming up. What's your thoughts with some of the tracks that we're going to be facing for the round of 12?
They're horrible. It's my least favorite part of the schedule. But you know, the next round after that'll be fun. Vegas is kind of a plate race. Roval's okay, and the next one's Dega, and everybody knows how I feel about that. It sucks. Package sucks. Everything's awesome, Taylor. Thank you.
Well, we look forward to seeing him at the next round and as he gets another strong top 2 finish here as we now catch up with Joshua Lee, who's caught up with our third place finisher, Clayton Hoffman.
Well, a good night for the 12 of Clayton Hoffman. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Third place for you, Clayton, and definitely needed it tonight. You were in the points based on wins, but based on points, but definitely could also use a good night tonight. How was that number 12 machine down on the racetrack?
She's a little beat up. Tried a little different strategy on that last run, and it did not work out after I checked up for an incident. I didn't bring out a flag. I kind of got turned around, so I just tried to battle back as far up back as I could after that.
And going into tonight, like I mentioned, you were in on points, and we do have unofficially that you will continue to race into the round of 12. Coming into tonight, were those points on your mind, or was this just something of going in, just race the race and not focus on what is happening with the playoffs?
It was definitely more of a survival race for me after I got disconnected, lost a couple laps last week, had a really bad points day. So it was really just trying to keep the car together. I knew I'd be okay. Probably wasn't going to be anywhere near as fast as those top 4 or 5 guys before a lot of them wrecked out, but I just, you know, try to get the best finish I possibly could.
And moving forward now, you'll continue to race in the round of 12. How confident are you that you can take that round of 12, make it into the round of 8, and continue to be alive in the championship hopes?
It'll just come down to some good runs on a couple tracks, really. I think I have a really good chance of getting some top 5s. I don't know if I can go for that win, but I think I can be competitive enough to get some good finishes.
Thank you so much for joining us post-race, Clayton. Congratulations on that third place here from the Last Great Coliseum.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Clayton Hoffman, third place finish. We do have unofficial point standings. Your top 12 going into the round of 12. Boyd Hogan, Joseph McWhorter, Logan Helton, Vincent Arthur, Ralph Hutchison, Chris Severa, Clayton Hoffman, John Theodore, Jacob Shorba, Stephen Davis, Ryan Strunk, and John Mullins. Brandon Davis, Zach York, and Ben Myatt have been eliminated from the playoffs. So now, Taylor, we're going to go racing next week at Las Vegas with 12 drivers now in the playoffs, down from 15. The action's only going to heat up. Las Vegas, Dega, and Charlotte Roval. I don't think they could have picked 3 more different racetracks to put into the next round, but intermediate, super speedway, and road course is going to really test these drivers of who is the championship favorite, who can be consistent at all 3.
It is going to be an interesting scenario for a lot of these drivers. We heard from both Logan and Boyd how they're not really looking forward to some of these races and how they feel about these tracks. So it's going to be interesting how they can overcome it. They're still going to be competitive, but just due to the fact of how the package of these cars are, it's going to be interesting of how they prepare for the next 3 weeks. Now, for drivers who are looking forward to the super speedway, that is considered a wildcard race, including the road course at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So 2 wildcard races that could possibly open the door for 2 drivers in the playoffs who have not really had the best runs so far, but could snatch a win very easily.
wins are still a premium, and we have a ton of upcoming events here on Podium Esports. The SimMax Cup Series, powered by MPI All-Star Race, goes green tomorrow night, Sunday, September 19th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Podium Esports. Then on Tuesday night, it is the Operation E Motorsport iRacing League from Watkins Glen. You can catch that action starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/Operation Motorsport. Then the next round of the MSRA Premier Series, we begin the round of 12 in the playoffs from virtual Las Vegas. It's September 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/Podium2. Then the next round of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series playoffs, we find out who the championship for will be in the elimination race from Talladega. That is September 28th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on iRacing's social medias and eNASCAR.com. Catch PCA Sim Racing as well, September 29th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time from 2008 Silverstone on youtube.com/PCA Sim Racing. Then the finale round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series from virtual Phoenix is September 30th, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can catch race 1 on twitch.tv/Podium Esports and race 2 on twitch.tv/Podium2. We'd like to thank our title sponsor for tonight's race, Fantastic Sam's of Thornton, Colorado. They sponsor tonight's Fantastic Sam's 125. Catch all of their more information at fantasticsams.com. We'd also like to thank iRacing for their continued support, and for more information on how to start your iRacing career, log on to iRacing.com today, because every day is race day. For Jacob Shorba and everyone at the Midwest Sim Racing Association, for James Pike, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, and John Theodore at Podium Esports. For tonight's team, our producer Ryan Bauer, cameras by Dougie Beard, Eric Messer on social media, and for my colleague in the booth, Taylor Burris, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast. We hope to see you tomorrow night for the SimMax Cup Series All-Star Race.